Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna make this cute little guy. This is Adventures with Tree Trunks, and this is a tree trunk, a little pygmy elephant. So that's what we're making today. So the yarn I'm using for this project is a Loops and Threads impeccable yarn. The color is grass, and this is about 56 grams, which is about a little over an ounce, almost 2 ounces of yarn. So I think that would probably be enough for the project. We'll find out. And it calls for 5, so I'm building this in amigurumi, which means I'm going to go down in hook size to a 4.5. So whatever yarn and hook that you're using, drop down in hook size because you may not be using the same kind of yarn I am. So if it already calls for a 4.5, you're going to have to go down to a 4. And then I'm using this 2-weight cotton. And that's going to be to put his little lines on and his little worry lines and his... I just sewed these eyes on. So I have my little bits of scrap yarn for the project as well. This white is going to be his teeth. The black is going to be for his mouth. And then this pink is going to be just the little bow on his tail. So we're going to start off by making his body. So we're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Now if you're not a happy camper when it comes to magic rings, you can always chain 2 and then put everything into the first stitch. It works out to be the same. So because we work in amigurumi, we are going to need a stitch marker because we don't slip stitch and we don't chain. We go right into our next stitch and we just start to build. So our next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. After the first stitch, that was also difficult. I need to put my marker in there. Stitch number 2 can go into that same space, and 2 single crochets in each stitch around will give you 12 stitches. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochets and an increase. I'm going to pull my middle closed. I'm going to tie a knot at the back. To keep my middle closed. This stuff isn't thick yarn or anything. It should stay closed on its own, but just in case, just to be safe. And then I'm still going to weave it in, just so it's not in my way. So your next round is 1 single crochet and an increase, so that's number 1 with your marker. And then stitch number 2 can go into the same space. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's number 2. And then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And this will bring it up to 30 stitches. So I want to give a huge shout out to Journey of Me. This is who requested this little cute little guy, and he's just so adorably ugly. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. So ugly is cute? Is that how they say it? It's 4 single crochets and then your increase. So bring it up to 36 stitches and repeat. Next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. This will bring it up to 42 stitches. Your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. This will bring it up to 48 stitches. So one last increase row. We don't want to go too big with this guy since he is a pygmy elephant. So we want to keep him fairly small. So your last increase round is going to be 7 single crochets and an increase. This will bring it up to 54 stitches. So this is what you should have. This is 8 rounds of increases. So for the next 8 more rounds, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should have 54 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So that's my 8 rows. This is what you should have. So we're going to start decreasing now. We're going to do a 7 single crochet decrease. That's number 1. This is my 7th single crochet. So there's 2 decreases you can do here. You can do invisible or you can do regular. A regular decrease is you go into your first stitch and you pull up a loop. You go into your second stitch and you pull up a loop. You yarn over and you pull through all 3 loops. An invisible decrease is done in the front loops only, and it's a little bit different. You go into your first front loop, then you pop around and go into your second front loop. Then you yarn over, pull through those 2, and then finish the stitch. So I'm going to do invisible. You can do whichever ones you want. So your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and a decrease, and this will bring you down to 42 stitches. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets and then your decrease. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and a decrease. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. Your last round is going to be 1 single crochet and a decrease. This will bring you down to 12 stitches, so that's as far as we're going. That's 1 single crochet with your marker, so you jump right into your decrease. So you can go and fasten off into your next stitch. So we just need to finish filling it. So I'm going to go in the front loop and out the next front loop. I like to make my knots in 2 directions. Oh, just a big ball of happiness for this guy. So, just a green ball. Move your stuffing around a bit so his bum doesn't look so funny. So we're going to make all his little legs. And then when I sewed his legs on, every single sewing tail I brought out to here. And then well, 3 of them at least. And then I braided them to make the tail. So when you cut your sewing tails for your legs, just make them a little bit extra long so we can make a tail. That way everything is attached in here. So the likelihood of a child coming and ripping a leg off, is minimal because we got everything attached. So that's what we're doing next. So you're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. So I'm going to do one with you, and then I'm going to leave you to do all your other legs with the pattern on the screen. That's 6 single crochets inside my ring. Still an amigurumi, so we won't be doing anything as far as slip stitching. So go into your first stitch. You're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So the marker goes on the first stitch, and then you can put stitch number 2 in that same space, and each space around it gets 2 for a total of 12 when you're done. That's as big as we're going, so for the next 6 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. And we'll see you on the other side. So this is what you should have, just a little stubby leg. You can go in and fasten off. It's up to you whether you sew these on open or you don't sew them on open. I'm going to sew mine on open, and I'm going to give myself an extra long tail so that I can make a tail. You only have to do that for 3 of them. So this gets stuffed. So I'm going to put the pattern on the screen, so go ahead and make your other 3, and then we'll meet back here and get them all sewn on. So I'll see you on the other side. So I got all my little legs done. And I got them all stuffed, ready to go. So this, where we started the magic ring, that's going to be his face. Where we fastened off is going to be his butt. So that's the plan. So these legs have to go pretty close together. Like that. That's about how his legs have to go, front and back. Pretty close together. So I just sewed normally. I didn't do anything special. So when you're done, come out around his butt area, but don't fasten off. Just kind of leave it. Go to your next leg. So your last leg, because we've got 3 here at the back, your last leg can just get weaved in like normal. So, making some progress. So now this tail, you've got 3 strands on this tail. So all I did was braid my tail. You can braid as tight or as loose as you want. And you can make it as long as you want. So once it's as long as you want it to be, actually you can just probably tie a knot. I just tied a knot this way on my last one. And then I just a little past the knot, I cut it off because, you know, elephants have this frayed tail. And then you can take a little piece of pink. I know you can hardly see my pink, but there we go. So the tail is all done and the legs are all done. So the next thing we have to do is we'll do the ears next. So the ears start with a chain 11. That's my chain 11. This first stitch is going to get 2 single crochets, so I want you to put a marker on that first stitch, and then stitch number 2 can go in that same space. Anything you see written on my channel with brackets around it other than the count means the same space. So now I want you to do 8 single crochets across. And in this last stitch, I want you to put 4 single crochets. So you're going to notice that it wants to curve around, and I want you to follow that curve because we're going to be working in the round. So working in the round means we're going to come around and we're going to work on the other side of this chain. Working in the round doesn't mean you're working like that. It just means we're going to be working around the other side of this chain. So I want you to just, this is my slip knot here, so starting in this very next stitch, which is kind of hard to see, but I want you to do 8 single crochets. And then this last stitch, I want you to put 2 single crochets. And that will match the other side. I'm going to cut my straggler off I weaved in. So that is it. Should have 24 stitches. For the next 7 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 24 stitches. This is not getting stuffed. So this is what you should have. So my 7 rows done. So your next round is going to start with 8 double crochets. That's my 8 double crochets. And then I want you to go into this next stitch, and I want you to slip stitch. And then I want you to do 8 half doubles. That's my 8 half doubles. I want you to do a slip stitch. So that should be lined up like that. And then you're going to do 6 doubles back to your marker. So that should line up perfectly. So from here, we're going to take the marker out because we don't need it anymore. And these next 2 stitches are just going to get slip stitches, just so I can walk myself around to the front. So now that I'm around in the front to this corner, all this should match up. And we're going to do these pieces, we're going to crochet the 2 together. So in your first, so these stitches have to line up to get into them, and there's 6 of them. So I want you to do 6 double crochets going through all the pieces. That is my 6 doubles. I'm going to do a slip stitch where I did my last slip stitch. And then you're going to do 4 half doubles. So pull up on this so you can get into the stitch properly. And my last space. So there's nowhere to fasten off, so you can just do it from here. So you're not going to need a sewing tail, you just need a weaving tail. We're going to reattach to this and do a mattress stitch, because that is the best way to attach the ear, is a mattress stitch. So this can just get weaved in, tucked away. So I pulled up on it to the point where it makes this little, just so it looks, it's supposed to look way shorter than this part. So go ahead and make your second ear. I'll put the pattern on the screen and I'll meet you right back here. So I got my other ear done. Both my ears done now. So that's what they should look like. So we're going to set that aside and we're going to get the trunk done, because we've got to put some black stuff on here before we can sew it to the elephant himself. So we're going to get the trunk done. We're going to start with a magic ring of 6 single crochets. Your first round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. That's 1 single crochet. And then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This part will be against the elephant's head, so I'm just going to pull my slip knot tight, and I'm going to make a knot. For the next 3 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 9 stitches. And I'm still going to weave in that tail even though I just made a knot. It's not going to come undone because the way we sew it to the head, so. But it's in my way, so I'm just going to go over it. You don't have to do this. So that's my 3 rounds. So your next round, we're gonna start to decrease. Your next round is gonna be 4 single crochets to start. Number 1 with the marker. That's 4 single crochets, and then we're gonna SE2 tog. So we're gonna do a decrease right here. SE2 tog stands for single crochet 2 together, which is just a decrease. And then you're going to do 3 single crochets back to your marker. We're not stuffing this guy. Well, I didn't stuff him. For the next 2 rows, I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 8 stitches, so I'm just going to count to 16. So that's my 16, so doing that decrease right in there gives this bit of a shape, which is perfect for an elephant trunk. So your next round, we're going to do 3 single crochets, another decrease, and 3 single crochets. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, a decrease, SE2 tog, and then 3 single crochets. And for the next 2 rows, I just want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 7 stitches, so I'm just going to count to 14. My 14th stitch. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets, a decrease, and then 2 single crochets. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, a decrease, and then 2 single crochets to your marker. So you should have 6 stitches. I just want you to do 1 row of 1 single crochet in each of these 6 stitches. So I'm just going to count to 6. And then the last row, which is going to be the end of the trunk, your first stitch, we're going to put 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. So you can put your marker on that first stitch, put your second half double in that same space, and then we're going to do 2 slip stitches, and then 2 half doubles in this next space. And then 2 slip stitches to your marker. And you can fasten off. So the sewing tail you need, it needs to be up here, so this can just be a weaving tail. So this is the end of your trunk that flares out. Not that much, but that is it. That's all his body parts. So that is all for the green stuff. And that is how much I have left over from that little ball, little 2 ounce, 56 gram ball. So let's set that aside, because now that's scrap yarn. So to sew all this stuff on, we need, some of it we need to add this 2 weight black cotton. That's what I'm using. You can use whatever you want, whatever you have on hand to use. We have to add that to the ears. So we just cut a little piece off here to start. So that's all we're doing to the ear is that, and that is on the bigger part, not the smaller part. So I'll just leave this here so you can reference it. So for ear number 2, it's a little different because they have to go on different sides of the body. So my last one I did like this, and I did this one I have to do like this. I have to do this side of it. So with my little leftover yarn, I'm going to use a piece, get one of my ears. So the black part goes on the face side. So they're kind of sewn on like that. So how I sew this on is a mattress stitch. So first I like to start where I'm going to be doing the mattress stitch. So I'm going to be using these posts all along here to do my mattress stitch. So first, I almost forgot, I haven't done it yet. I'm going to make a slip knot on this end. You'll see why in a minute. Oh. So I'm going to make a slip knot on that end. I'm only going through the ear. I'm not touching the body at all. I'm just reattaching to the ear. I'm going to go through the slip knot. And then I'm going to make a knot, and I'm going to tie these 2 pieces together. So now that I've got that attached, yeah, that pin kind of sucks. Let's use some normal pins. And once you've determined where you want your ear to be, we can start a mattress stitch. So I'm already attached to this post. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick up a post. I'm going to come up here and pick up the next post. Come down here and pick up the next post. So I'm going to do this all the way across. You don't have to pull right away. You can pull after, or you can pull right away. It's completely up to you. Just make sure you're keeping it straight. So you have to pull fairly hard if you wait that long, but you can see that it'll pull it down flush to the head. And it's a pretty good hold too. Now if you wait that long, you stretch out your yarn a little bit, but so I'm at the front. I want my ears to be, let's take these out, not flappy and standing up like that. So I had to sew down underneath here. Just to keep it held down. So this trunk is nearly the same idea. So just make sure that when you sew it on, this and this is top and bottom. And then I sewed it on right around the magic ring area. You gotta leave room for the mouth underneath here. So I did pull as I went because I wanted to make sure that I was keeping it in the right space. So, done. I'm just gonna weave. So I just kind of took my little straggler here and kind of weaved them in as I was going. I'll just cut that off, and then I'll cut this off. There we go. My little schnoz. So it does curl up because of the SE2 togs we were doing. So we're all done now with our green, and that's what I have left out of that roll. So that gives you any indication, and I'm a loose crocheter, so That is all that's needed for this guy. So now we just do the face. Let's do the mouth first, and then we'll do everything else. So for the mouth, we just need some scrap black and some scrap white. So it's just super small. We're going to start with a chain 10. This is just a regular 4-weight, but it is Red Heart Comfort. That's what it is in the black. So we're going to do 3 single crochets. And then we're going to do SE3 tog. So you're going to go in and pull up a loop in the first stitch, go in and pull up a loop from the second stitch, and from the third stitch you're going to go in and pull up a loop. So you should have 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And then you're going to do 3 single crochets to the end. And then you're going to fasten off. So you need a sewing tail. So you should have a little smiley mouth. This guy you can use as an anchor for sewing if you want, or you can tuck it in and get rid of it. So the teeth, I just took a piece of white and I just sewed the teeth in. Yeah, I might do mine closer together. I'm doing mine pretty far apart. So, that is terrifying. No, he's not that bad. I am going to use some glue for mine because I don't want anybody pulling my teeth out. So if I put glue back here, then so it goes right underneath, like super close to underneath the nose. Super close. So I like to anchor my stuff with my straggler. So I'm going to get our 2-weight little cotton again. We can make the face, and we can make the eyes and the wrinkles and all that jazz. So let's make the eyes first. So you have to just decide where you want your eyes and then just go back and forth a few times. So once you have that, I'm going to come back over here. Find a spot to start. To make my wrinkles. So, then the eyebrows. And then we need to come up to the forehead. And we need to put our worry lines in, so this first one is longer than the second one. So we put a long one in and then we put a short one in. Like that. He's got quite the face. That's your little pygmy elephant. Adventures with Little Tree Trunk. And this, as far as I understand, is Little Tree Trunk. So this was a request by Journey of Me. Again, I know I said that earlier in the video, but he's super cute, and I love the fact that he's just so tiny and such a quick little project. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.